As we all know, Jedi could transcend into the Force upon Qui-Gon Jinn's teachings to Yoda, becoming Force Ghosts and aiding the next generation in their endeavors and missions. But what about the Sith? As we know, the Sith contain their own special array of powers such as Force Lightning and other feats. Could they also transcend themselves into the next realm? That's what we will uncover in today's episode of Star Wars Theory. Strength, power, and strategy mark the rule of Marka Ragnos. Descended from the original Sith inhabitants of Korriban and the Dark Jedi exiles who interbred with them, Marka Ragnos was destined for greatness. He conquered his competitors in a series of quick, ruthless campaigns and became Dark Lord of all Sith, a title he would hold for more than a century. The reign of Marka Ragnos might have been short-lived had he not displayed such great strategic discipline. Instead of clashing directly with Sith challengers who hungered for his power, he pitted his enemies against each other to weaken and destroy them. One of the most powerful Sith Lords that ever existed, he was born over 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin and lived during the earliest ever Sith empires. Marka was a Sith-human hybrid, as his father was a direct descendant of a Dark Jedi who had fled the Republic after the 100-Year Darkness. Powerful, feared, and obeyed, Ragnos was considered to have been the greatest Dark Lord of his era. After becoming the Dark Lord, he led savage missions against the Sith enemies, ranking his adversaries against one another and ensuring that there were no threats to his empire. After years of conquering citadels, Ragnos was met by a young 13-year-old boy named Tenebrae. The boy had come before him hoping to gain training under Ragnos. When Lord Ragnos met Tenebrae, he was astounded by the youth's abilities, desire, and power, granting him the rank of Sith Lord and the new name, Vitiate. Ragnos was so knowledgeable in the Force that even during his funeral, he was able to appear as a Sith Force Ghost to Nega Sato and Ludo Kresh, who were battling to the death for Marka's approval in order to become his successor, the next Sith Lord. Upon Sato's victory, Ragnos appointed the winner as the new era's Sith Lord, banishing Kresh back to his place. Although it was not customary for Sith to return as Force Ghosts, a trait only for Jedi. As Qui-Gon Jinn once said to Master Yoda, the ability to defy oblivion can be achieved, but only for oneself. It was accomplished by a shaman of the wills. It is a state acquired through passion, not greed. Now, if we remember, the shaman of the wills were mentioned during Rogue One, a Star Wars story. My thoughts are that this could be who Snoke is, which I've made a video on as well. The Sith had no compassion and were full of greed. So how did some Sith, such as the character we're examining today, return as a ghost several times, and where did he learn this power from? Ragnos was no ordinary Sith. Being half born by the Force, somewhat like Anakin, he was just as well versed with the Dark Sith magic as he was with the Force itself. He created a scepter capable of funneling the Force from many different places, which could be used to empower non-Force users, as well as he designed a pair of gauntlets capable of augmenting a user's strength with the Force, meaning through the use of these magical gauntlets, he could become even more powerful than before and alter his powers to higher unnatural levels. He even crossed paths with Darth Plagueis. I will read you a quote by Darth Plagueis from a passage in the book of Siths, Secrets from the Dark Side.
I was ready to conclude that the tales are merely diversions from the credulous, but as I boarded my ship in the Valley of the Dark Lords, I beheld a vision of the Sith Lord, Marka Ragnos. The apparition challenged my claim to the Sith title and rallied against my plan to dismantle the traditions of Korriban. But the vision of Ragnos would not answer my questions, nor my delineated inquiries. He snarled and disappeared in a whirl of smoke. It is possible that the entire episode simply played out in my mind.
Ragnos was so old that he even came to Plagueis as a Force Ghost, striking fear into him, which should tell us how powerful and respected he truly was throughout all eras of the galaxy. He stated, "Chains of the grave cannot hold a Dark Lord of the Sith." Fully believing his powers could even defy death itself, Ragnos began to study ways to live beyond the physical realm, returning as a Force Ghost when summoned at his tomb with his scepter. He even possessed Tavion Axmis, overriding her conscious willpower and identity, something no Jedi has or will ever do if they could. When combined with the information that the Lords of the Old Sith Empire knew regarding strategies that could keep their bodies alive for a considerable length of time, there were techniques and charged objects that could empower the flow of Force vitality. Added to this was the way that specific areas and planets center the Force. It appears that the deceased Sith Lords' bodies would in the end be embalmed by the dark side, and soon thereafter, the Force Ghost of that Sith would be obligated to transcend and take control of another vessel, be it someone else or a tomb, a sanctuary, or a Sith holocron for that matter. Sensibly, one could likewise expect that if an ancient or more relevant Dark Lord's body still existed, thus did the Force Ghost. Furthermore, only serious and concentrated Force vitality would empower the deceased to be summoned back to life. So as we can see, a Sith Force Ghost does not have the same maneuverability and comfort that a Jedi Force Ghost has, who moves through compassion, gliding on the Force like water, whereas the Sith needed to be more or less summoned through heavy use of magic and the dark side. What do you guys think of Marka Ragnos? I really like uncovering more and more lore from the ancient Sith Empire and the Old Republic. I like to do backstories on the Sith and Jedi that we don't know. I find it opens up a whole world of information and backstories, which makes reading the comics, watching the movies, and playing the video games much more entertaining and realistic. Now, I am doing a new fan fiction that you've all requested. What if Mace Windu went to Kashyyyk instead of Yoda? And it's almost complete. That should be up in the next day or two with a new lightsaber giveaway. So stay tuned for that, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I will see you all tomorrow in the next episode of Star Wars Theory. Until then, remember,
The Force will be with you always.